Hi everyone, welcome to what I'm hoping is going to be a very exciting new series all about my new secret, maybe not so secret projects. Yeah, I have mentioned that I'm working on a new project, but I thought it was about time that I take you behind the scenes and show you some of the process of what I'm working on. Yeah, and tell you a little bit more about my story. But yeah, so I've mentioned in a couple of studio vlogs that I'm working on a picture book, and this is something that I'm writing and illustrating myself, so I'm very, very excited. And yeah, I may as well just tell you what the picture book is about. So my main character is this lovely little ghost called Hattie, if it wants to focus on her face. And Hattie runs a hotel for ghosts. She's a bit of a perfectionist. Yeah, she wants everything to be perfect. She's my main character. I really love ghosts. I don't know why, I've always loved anything kind of a little bit like spooky and surreal. But yeah, I thought it would be fun to make this into a series of videos where I document the process of illustrating and writing this book. It's all very sort of new still, and I've never actually written anything before, so we'll see how that goes. I have actually written the first draft so far. I'm not entirely sure whether or not I'm going to actually do the whole book in tracing paper or not. I do love the idea, but I don't know if it's going to be practical to do. It would just be quite fun to sort of experiment and see what art materials I think work well with the character and the illustrations. But yeah, I hope you enjoy this series of videos. This is the first one in the series, but there's going to be like a whole playlist. And yeah, so if you're watching this in the future, maybe there'll be other videos. So I wanted to have another go at making a tracing paper ghost, and I started drawing this sketch of Hattie sitting on an armchair reading a book. So I did a rough sketch on my iPad, and my plan was to then draw the armchair in coloured pencil and then do a tracing paper ghost on top of it. I'm not sure that it really worked out exactly, but I do end up going back to the iPad, and then this actually became one of my favourite illustrations. Another part of the course I really enjoyed was we had to create a side character that was sort of like an animal or something. So I decided to do a ghost cat that I have called Ginger. I'm really pleased we were set this task because this wasn't something that I would have come up with, I don't think, by myself. I thought it would be really fun if maybe Ginger could like follow Hattie around, and maybe I could draw Ginger in different rooms of the hotel as well. So I think that would be like something fun that maybe children can spot and do that thing where like you have the cat on every page. I've also got quite a funny clip of me drawing Ginger on the iPad and then accidentally undoing all of my drawing because I had what I thought was the brilliant idea of using my iPad as a light box so that I could trace the armchair. And as you will see, it's not the best idea. I've just traced this chair onto a piece of paper. I've made such a big mistake. So I drew my cat, and then I was like, where on earth has my cat gone? And I've just been tapping to get my cat back because I didn't realise that when I was tracing over this, just using my iPad as a light box, like I was erasing, like undoing all of my cat. Luckily I can, but yeah, it's, if you don't know, 2 taps you undo, 3 taps you redo. I think you're back now, cat. few. But yeah, I haven't completely figured out exactly what the setting's going to be and what my colour palette is going to be and stuff, but I wanted to just do an armchair in the background because I'm doing my ghost on tracing paper. I just wanted to test out what that would look like, and obviously I can change things. I don't know why I'm like, oh, what specific colour pencil do I want to use? Like all of this can change, it's not set in stone. But yeah, let me know if you can kind of relate to that. I don't know, I want it to be right. But yeah, I can't quite decide if I want to choose quite sort of like dark and like sort of gothic colours, or if I want to have something a bit brighter, or maybe something in between. But yeah, I was also thinking I could have, you know, maybe like cozy kind of autumnal colours, maybe pastel colours. There's yeah. But yes, now the other thing to consider with the backgrounds obviously is that my ghost's gonna be see-through, so I want the lines to show up well, because I was thinking I'd quite like to have like maybe a black cushion or something, but then I think if I had that, I don't know if my ghost would still show up well. I don't know. I mean, I guess I can just try it different ways. This isn't the ghost that's going to sit on the chair yet. I haven't done that one yet. But yeah, we can try things and we can change things. That's what I need to remember. Now, I think when I do the final illustrations, I don't think I will actually like sketch things out in green. I was just this is just a practice one. I don't know, maybe I'll find that it's a new technique that I really like, who knows. But I think this chair's looking quite cool. I thought it might be fun to do some like scales on it, because I was just thinking I want it to look a little bit more unusual. Yeah, it's a story about a ghost, so I kind of want things to look a little bit more strange. I thought I'd just add some scales. I think it was like the green colour sort of reminded me of like, I don't know, a lizard or... So then it was time to add Hattie sitting in the chair. So I decided not to use my technique of using my iPad as a light box, because that did not work very well, and instead I laid the tracing paper over the armchair that I'd drawn and sort of drew on roughly where I wanted her to be, and then I moved the tracing paper to the side and started adding some more details. So I used a white pencil, and then I also used a black pencil then to like go over a lot of the details. At this stage she does look kind of funny without the sofa, because I don't know if you can tell that she's sitting down without the sofa behind her. Yeah, I was just quite amused by her pose, because it kind of looks like she was doing some strange dance. It's going curly. It'll flatten out, it'll be fine. One ghost, she looks like she's doing the strangest, I don't know, like weird hip sort of bump dance or something, but that bit is going to be where the sofa goes. Right, let's try and bend it this way to just, maybe I can, oh, I think you're fine, you're fine. I think it's maybe like the heat of my hand. Like, did anyone have any of those, I think they call them magic fish? You got them in like kind of like party bags and stuff as a kid. It was like a little red fish and you had to put it on your hands, and it was kind of like a mood ring, and it sort of told you, you know, if it curled a certain way, it sort of told you if you were happy or jealous or in love or whatever. I did think this looked quite cute, but I wasn't completely happy with it, and I thought the cushions might be a little bit distracting. I decided to add ginger next, and this was when I realised that I might also have problems with where I put Ginger, because initially I was planning on putting Ginger on Hattie's lap. I might put the cat up here just so that it's a little bit more visible, maybe, or maybe on the arm. I don't know, maybe. That's a good thing about them being tracing paper. I mean, obviously to some extent, if I like cut this space out, then stuff like that I can't move around so much. I think I might want you up there. Might go around the paws a little bit. Where to put the cats? I just don't know if it's going to get a bit lost. My other thought with the cat is actually, I don't know if I could lightly colour it in so it's still a bit ghosty, but maybe it could just have a light brown colour, or I think maybe having that cushion with the crazy pattern behind doesn't really work. No, I don't think I think the cushion behind is actually a little bit too much. So I moved back to my iPad and I used some pencil brushes that I have, and I just felt like the illustration looked so much clearer, and you can see I'm doing a comparison with the tracing paper ghost and the iPad version, and I'm just so much happier because you can see Hattie's face a lot more. I think these cushions are a little bit too sort of complicated and stuff, and then when I tried adding the cat as well, it was just a bit too much. I just thought, even though I love the idea of doing them in tracing paper, because years ago I did my like Inktober sort of collages and I did some ghosts in that, and I did them with tracing paper. I just thought I'll have a go at it on my iPad instead, and then I can colour it in and kind of get the transparency that I want. Yeah, it's just easier to kind of change things, isn't it? I'm trying to also remind myself that any decisions I make now, I can always change. So if I want, I can go back to tracing paper. If I want to try paint, I can try paint. Like, there's lots of different options. Yeah, I think it's going quite well. The thing I think I am gonna struggle with is actually coming up with the like different expressions, because as you can see, this one and this one that I've done, she has the same expression. And I did I did try, let me show you. So I did these little faces. She looks like a thumb, doesn't she? Like, because I've just drawn the top of her head. So I've tried to do a few different practice expressions there. I'm actually quite liking how this is turning out, and I like the kind of like shaded kind of pencil effects. So I started with the line art and I wanted to create a really soft pencil look. So quite often when I draw, whether that's traditionally or digitally, I have quite a firm pressure and my lines usually look quite bold. Yeah, I have kind of favoured those kind of like block colours and like bold lines before. Something that I find is then the thickness of my line doesn't vary that much. So I've been wanting to try a kind of softer, more sketchy way of drawing, which I think can look really charming for picture books especially. I also added some grey shading, which I think just kind of adds to that softness and also gives it a little bit more depth and dimension. I'm adding the colour on a layer underneath the sketch layer, and I'm using a few different pencil brushes on my iPad. One of my favourites is the 6B pencil that comes with Procreate. I've also got a pencil pack that I bought from Design Cuts, which has loads of different pencil brushes. One of my favourites from that pack is the chunky pencil, which just has this really lovely texture. So I'm not sure if when I'm colouring this in, if I should colour the whole sofa in green first and then do maybe like another layer. I might try, I don't know, it might look weird. I mean, I guess to start with actually I could maybe press a bit lighter. I might go in and do another layer that's white underneath, I don't know. We'll see if this works. So right now I have a green ghosty, but the beauty of doing stuff digitally is that you can change things. I mean, obviously you can change things if you do them traditionally as well, but it's just a bit more of a pain in the butt, isn't it? So I really love how this all came together. This definitely is one of my favourite illustrations of Hattie. I just think she looks so cute and cozy, curled up with her book and with Ginger on her lap. I decided to add one cushion just on the side rather than a cushion behind her because of the problem that I had when I did it with tracing paper and having too many like complicated details behind her. Yeah, I thought I'd just have one cushion on the side and keep things a bit simpler. Yeah, and as you can see, I'm just drawing out a few different cushion designs, and again, I just love the fact that you can really easily change things if you're drawing digitally. So then I went back in with a white pencil, added a few more sort of highlights to kind of make Hattie glow. I also gave her little rosy cheeks, which I think makes her look very cute, and I used that same colour to colour in the book as well. Then I added a little bit more shadow, and at this point I'm just kind of looking at the illustration and seeing what bits I want to kind of define more and where I can add more contrast. For my coursework that week, we were given the task of drawing our character 3 times in 3 different poses with the side character that we'd created and with 3 different expressions as well. Like I mentioned before, drawing my characters with different expressions is something that I still find challenging, but I wanted to definitely give it a go. So I started drawing another illustration of Hattie. I ended up using a finished illustration of Hattie in the armchair as reference to myself, just to remind myself what Hattie looks like whilst I'm sort of creating the rough sketch. Yeah, I just find it really helpful having that reference for myself, just to try and keep that like continuity. So here I decided to draw an illustration of Hattie trying to catch a vase that's fallen over, and as I had to add that's a tongue twister, Ginger to the illustration as well, I thought I would add Ginger off to the side. At first I was thinking maybe Ginger could just be looking up innocently, but I quite liked the idea of just seeing like a tail and like the back legs of Ginger as he's walking off. So maybe he's responsible for knocking the vase over. Maybe he just doesn't really care that the vase is being knocked over, I'm not sure. So I have a huge cup of tea and I'm here to kind of fill in all the bits that I have missed out and give you a little bit more information about Hattie and about sort of designing her as a character. Yeah, so my initial sketches of Hattie, she was looking quite cartoonish. I drew her quite short and I was trying to work out the balance of giving her personality but still making her look like a ghost. So even though I've drawn ghosts before wearing accessories, I haven't drawn ghosts having, you know, like head to toe in like an outfit before. And I even tried drawing hair on Hattie, and I don't know, something about it wasn't really working. And yeah, then I tried giving her different hats. I really liked the name Hattie for the character, and I was looking through a whole load of different names, and I was trying to find like an old-fashioned name. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm trying out different sort of hats. One of these hats looks quite like a helmet just like plonked on her head. But yes, again, my initial sketches are not particularly good, but they are my first sketches. So after a few sketches, feeling like I wasn't really getting anywhere, I decided to have a look at this illustration that I did of my ghosts having their tea party, because I really love the way that I've drawn these ghosts, and I like how they're quite long so they're kind of like more human height, but they still look quite ghost-like, if that makes sense. Like, they don't really have much of a neck, so it really helped having the picture on the screen of these other ghosts that I to kind of get the rough shape of how I wanted Hattie to look. I kind of see Hattie as being alive in the 40s sometime. Yeah, so I started having a look at some different like fashion styles throughout the 40s. But yeah, and I just tried drawing like different kind of necklines on her, and maybe some little scarves and things. I kind of paused the fashion and moved on to working on some different expressions, because that was one of the tasks which was set by the online course that I was doing, which is something that I do struggle with because I feel like all my characters tend to look the same. I've also noticed that a lot of my characters have quite round faces and just round features in general, and I think I might just be drawing myself without realizing it. I guess because when you're younger you kind of do self-portraits when you're practicing, so yeah, I think all my characters kind of look like me a little bit. I attempted a few different expressions. This is still something I really need to work on and push a lot more. Basically change the eyebrows a little bit to try and show her surprised and cross and sad and things like that. Then I came back to working on her costume. I kind of felt like I wanted a collar or something. I kind of wanted to keep her outfit sort of simple. I didn't want it to be too busy. But yeah, and I decided to give her a skirt which kind of goes with the fact that ghosts don't have feet. I know Rebecca Green, in her book about ghosts, she refers to this as like the wobbly ghost bottoms, or wobbly bottoms something like that. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed learning more about Hattie. There's going to be more videos like this, and I'm going to put them all together in a series, so if you're watching in the future then there might be more videos available. I think I'm going to do updates maybe every month on Hattie, so that will be uploaded in between like my regular studio vlogs and things like that. So if you want to follow along on this journey, then feel free to subscribe. I'm sending you lots of love. I hope you've had a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and I will see you in my next video. Okay, bye. I'm stumbling over my words so much, but I think it's just because I'm excited. It's like a bowl of tea, this is. I've also done ghosts wearing scarves, which slightly did look like snowmen. I don't know if the cat is responsible for the vase falling over, or if the cat just doesn't care. Probably the second one. Well, I've kind of done a bit of a background for, oh, I don't even know, blah 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 blah, cut that a bit out. Okay. Okay.
Thank you for coming. I know that you're trying to do anything to make me smile.